For the first time in Ohio girls high school basketball, a Division VI champion will be crowned. And for the Bulldogs and Rovers, it's their first ever appearance in a title game. History will be made at the University of Dayton Arena and next on Spectrum News 1. And the two teams that will play for that state championship are only a combined 53-3 coming into this title game. So glad to have you with us here inside the University of Dayton Arena as Columbus Grove gets set to take on Rootstown in the Division VI state title game. Cameron Rudd, Marty Bannister, we're glad you're with us here on Spectrum News 1. Highly anticipated Division VI title game coming up, Cameron.
Yeah, very, very good game ahead of us here. We know you got to be a great team to be in here, you know. No one sees the late night practices, the early morning workouts. No one sees that, the blood, sweat, and tears. These girls have really earned a spot here today. And to earn that spot, they both had to come through in very tough semifinal victories. For Rootstown, they withstood 14 Fort Fry threes in knocking off the Cadets and making it to this championship game. Meantime, Columbus Grove against a talented Minster team, they were down with under 30 seconds left before rallying behind Lauren Ochmoody to pick up the victory and make it to this title game. Both teams fought hard to make it to this championship game here at the University of Dayton Arena. For Columbus Grove, it's been a 4-year run to make it to this championship game. 26 wins coming in. The win over Minster, a big one for them. And again, Lauren Ochmoody leads the way as we take you to our star to watch, brought to you by Roosters, a fun casual joint. Ochmoody's a good one, Camille. Very, very good. You know, she is definitely the player to watch for Columbus Grove. She's playing such a high level of basketball. She is a very smooth operator. Those are kind of the words that kept coming to me when I was watching her play. She averages 23 points a game. She's extremely disciplined and really lets the offense come to her. She doesn't force a whole lot, and she has a great step back three that I'm sure we'll get some images of that tonight. Absolutely. For the Rootstown Rovers, they come into this game with the mindset, don't give up the ship. They've had to rally so many times this season to reach the state championship game, and one of the reasons why they've been able to rally, as we check stars to watch for Rootstown, is the play of Nadia Lowe. That's very true. You know, she tore her ACL back in June, so she did miss the first 8 games of this season, but she's back and as strong as ever. She's made up for lost time, so you know, big players make big plays, and she's really stepped into this in the situation. She averages 13 points per game. However, she averaged 11 in the first 17 games that she played this season, and she is averaging 21 in the last 3 games, so really stepping up in a big way for her team. The first ever Division VI trophy will be awarded at the end of this one. It's Rootstown, Columbus Grove. The opening tip is coming up next.
The 2025 OHSAA State Basketball Championships are an exclusive presentation of Spectrum News.
It is the capital of basketball in the state of Ohio right now, the University of Dayton Arena, as the OHSAA Girls State Championships have center court this weekend as we get ready to crown a Division VI state title. We welcome you back inside the UD Arena, the historic UD Arena, on a historic tournament for girls high school basketball in Ohio. Let's meet the starting lineups in this afternoon's game, and they're brought to you by Carol Wirtz Tires and Auto Service since 1952. We told you about Columbus Grove a moment ago. Lauren Ochmoody obviously leads the way, averaging 23 points a game, but another key factor, Camity, for Columbus Grove is the play around the basket of Nicole Nesby. Yeah, you're right. You know, she averages about 10 points a game. She's getting 7 rebounds a game. Definitely helps Ochmoody and the rest of the team out a lot offensively and defensively. 1 senior, 4 juniors in this Columbus Grove starting lineup in this state title game. For the Rovers from Rootstown, you see their first 5 on the floor right there. Obviously, Nadia Lowe leads the way. And what was impressive, I thought, Camity, they went 8-0 without her when she was recovering from that ACL injury. Yeah, very impressive. And, you know, someone who really stepped up was Colby Curell. She was their top scorer when Lowe was out. So expect to see a lot of help from her as well for this team. Rootstown averages 59 points a game. Columbus Grove averages 58 points a game. There you see the bench bosses, Joe Leonard from Rootstown and Brian Schrader, the head coach at Columbus Grove. Schrader's an Ohio State graduate, and Joe Leonard is a University of Toledo graduate. They bring their teams to this state championship game here today at the University of Dayton Arena. The lights have gone dim as we close in on the opening tip. Before we get to the tip, though, let's bring you tonight's keys to the game. They're brought to you by Toyota, where you'll find more all-wheel drive and electrified choices than anywhere else. Toyota, let's go places.
Yeah, you know, one of my first keys for the game here, it's going to be who can stay more calm under pressure, who can stay disciplined, make the right choices offensively, because we're going to see high-pressure defense, so we really need to make sure that the nerves are at bay, right? And who can make less mistakes. That kind of goes into my second point, turnovers. We've got to see who makes less turnovers. That's probably who's going to win this game tonight.
She is the hardest working sideline reporter probably in all of television. We say hello to the first time today to Katie Polly.
Thanks so much, Marty. As you guys said, who to look out for on this Columbus Grove roster? Senior Lauren Moody. She's the only senior on this roster. She's a four-year starter, been starting since she's a freshman. She set multiple scoring records for both the school and the county. She's headed to the University of Findlay in the fall to play basketball, and she is the Northwest Conference Player of the Year.
Standout performer. She has had a tremendous career. It was interesting. Brian Schrader called her a modern point guard. She scores and delivers, Camity, and that's kind of a unique way of describing her.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, we've talked about her scoring quite a bit. She kind of does it from all over, too, right? I mentioned how she really doesn't force a whole lot. She doesn't really have to. She kind of lets her offensive game come to her, which is really beautiful to see.
We get ready for this afternoon's opening tip. It's brought to you by Jake Sweeney Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, home of the best price guaranteed. Our opening tap here for this Division VI championship game. Already championships have been won today by Portsmouth. There are still two more games after our game here today. 3 titles awarded yesterday. Cincinnati Schools, Purcell, Marion, and Winton Woods, with Bellevue sandwiched in between 1 to 3 title games yesterday. We're ready for the Division VI state championship game. Sit back and enjoy Columbus Grove and Rootstown. We're happy to have you with us here on Spectrum News 1. Opening tap controlled by Columbus Grove. The Bulldogs out of Portage County, Putnam County, control the basketball to start against the Rovers from Portage County. First attempt of the game is a step-back 3 off the back iron by Moody, and the loose ball tracked down out high. Good hustle by Columbus Grove's Nicole Nesby to keep the ball on the Bulldog side of the floor. Good ball moving, another open 3. That one's airborne and down. Allison Thompson, who stepped up big in their district final win over Margaretta. She had 9 straight points in the second quarter of that game. Gets the Bulldogs on the board first. Working against pressure. Quick feed into the corner for a 3 that's off the mark by Gurman. And back runs Columbus Grove. Moody, 5'7" senior. 23 points a game coming in. Good rebound offensively, Kendall Palty. And the ball knocked out of bounds and will stay with Columbus Grove. Joe Leonard, 64-10 as the head coach at Rootstown. Overall, 77-33, bringing his team to the state championship game. Good hands out high, and the steal by Colby Curall. Camity talked about her earlier. The layup will not go, but she'll head to the free throw line, doing those little things that keeps Rootstown in a game.
Yeah, we're already seeing that high-pressure defense on both sides of the floor. So, again, holding those turnovers back to a minimum will really be helpful. Rootstown comes into the game averaging about 18 turnovers a game, so hopefully they can kind of put a cap on that today.
Curall, 71% shooter at the stripe, and gets the Rovers on the board. Good look at Colby Curall, 5'10" junior, averages 10 points a game, leads the club in rebounding at 7. Had a huge play in their regional semifinal win, game-tying free throws. That coming after a steal. And that mindset of don't give up the ship kept Rootstown going. Here's Moody on the penetration, but prior to getting to the hoop, we have a whistle and a foul.
Another thing Moody does so well offensively is she just changes up her speed down the court. You see her go fast, slow down a little bit, quick again. It throws her defender off completely, gets her on her heels.
Moody will trigger the ball in for Columbus Grove. Ruth Myers tries to send back out high for Palty, who had the ball sail overhead, but Moody able to come out and keep the loose ball on the side of Columbus Grove. Minute and a half in, 1-point lead. Down the lane and getting the layup to roll in is Kendall Paulty.
A nice little elbow to the defender there before she goes up for the layup. Very smart, good basketball IQ on that play.
Well, her dad is a football coach, and she has that tough, gritty mentality, and you saw a little bit of it right there.
Some physicality for you, for sure.
Rootstown runs back when they turn the basketball over. Nicole Nesby comes away with the loose ball, and the Bulldogs are sprinting back on offense. Good hustle back by Kelsey Biddicuffer, and the ball knocked out of bounds under the bucket. Here's what we were talking about a moment ago, Camity, with Kendall Paulty rolling to the bucket.
Yeah, look at this, nice. You'll see her, little left arm, forearm shiver there, just a little bit to clear some space and go up for a clean layup. Nice job.
Rootstown makes a couple of changes. Sophie Smith is into the game, a 5'7" sophomore. And also checking in is Chloe Bankston, a 5'6" junior guard. Columbus Grove with the early three-point lead. Moody tries to get the three to drop, too short, and the rebound tracked down by Nadia Lowe. But her outlet pass is stolen away. It's Paulty again to the basket and the layup.
Makes sense that her dad is a football coach, right?
Kendall Paulty, averaging 5 points a game early on in this game. She has contributed big time for Columbus Grove, and they've raced out to a 5-point lead here early on in this Division VI state championship game. Lowe out high, off the mark, and Nesby the rebound.
Beautiful transition pass.
Paulty sauntering back behind the defense, gets the layup to go. She's got a half dozen, and it's a 9-2 lead for Columbus Grove, and another turnover. The Bulldogs dominating on both sides of the floor early on. Myers penetrates and draws contact and a foul.
I think in these high games we see some nerves shake out a little bit. And I think Rootstown that's just what we're seeing. Maybe a little bit of nerves and have them settle down a little bit because those passes they're making don't seem like they're too common for them.
And Joe Leonard, the Rootstown head coach, is going to take a 30-second timeout here, Camity. I think just because of what you were saying, let's just calm down a little bit here, ladies. A long way to go in this game. We're not even 3 minutes in yet. They're down by 7 points.
Yeah, take a second, get a breather in. Don't do anything crazy. Play your game. I'm sure that's what he's telling them. Stay under control, make good decisions, right?
There you see the Columbus Grove resume on offense and defense. They have been very stingy. Just 31 points a game opponents score, and they've been very stingy holding opponents shooting the basketball. In their district final win over Margaretta, they held Margaretta to 7 for 39 from the field. Even I can tell you that's not good. You're a basketball coach, you know that. That's Columbus Grove on the inbound, and they have a 7-point lead early on in the Division VI title game. Tough look into the lane, stolen away. Good defense inside by Addie Gurman. Feed to the wing for the three that circles out by Biddicuffer, and Nesby the rebound for Columbus Grove. Aubrey Schrader checked in at the dead ball for the Bulldogs. Missed the runner in the lane on the tussle for the loose ball. We have a held ball. Possession arrow will favor Columbus Grove. I'm sorry, Rootstown. It goes to Rootstown.
We see that physicality coming into play. Hard fall for sure, but love the aggressiveness that we're seeing on both sides of the ball from both teams right now.
Aubrey Schrader almost completely face first to the bucket there, to the floor that time. Back runs Rootstown with the basketball, desperately needing a basket, almost 4.5 into this first quarter. Nesby unable to control the missed shot out of bounds. But the ball was last touched by Rootstown underneath. And the basketball goes back to Columbus Grove.
It does seem like one of those times when if the Rovers could just get a basket to fall, maybe other things would just open up. It's kind of the beginning of the game. You need that first few to kind of hit the bottom of the net, and you can really get going from there.
Moody against pressure. Columbus Grove with a 7-point lead. Pass tipped away underneath as they tried to get the ball inside to Nesby. Change for the Bulldogs. Elise Fortman into the game for the first time. She's a 5'5" junior. And she'll replace Kendall Paulty, who sits down with a half dozen points here early on in this game. Good hands on the inbound and the steal taken away. Good job by Curall to reach in and poke the ball away. And the Rovers run back on offense. Trying to cross over, loses her balance. Almost a steal out high by Thompson. Aggressive defense by Allison Thompson out high, preventing Rootstown from getting into any kind of offense right now. We go under 4 minutes in this first quarter, which has belonged to Columbus Grove. Chain of defense from the Bulldog fan base seated behind the bucket. Jump shot partially blocked on the way up by Bankston. Loose ball pulled out of the pack by Schrader for Columbus Grove as she dribbles into trouble, and we have a whistle and a foul. Getting back defensively was Sophie Smith for Rootstown, and she picks up the personal foul. So much of the focus coming in was on Lauren Ochmoody, but so far it's been Kendall Paulty to step up. She has 6 for Columbus Grove, and they lead by 7. It's the University of Dayton Arena once again playing host to the OHSAA Girls State Basketball Championship. How did these teams get here? The road to Dayton brought to you by Central Ohio Toyota dealers, where you'll find more all-wheel drive and electrified choices than anywhere else. Toyota, let's go places. Joe Leonard's team steamrolled their way to this state championship game. LeBray gave them a hard fight. They had to edge Smithville in a thriller. Meantime, for Columbus Grove, they also had to battle their way here. The semifinal games both were very difficult wins. Gliding to the basket and scoring on the inbound is Aubrey Schrader, and Columbus Grove has jumped out to an 11-2 lead. And Cammy, this is completely different than their semifinal win over Minster, where they struggled early on against the Minster Wildcats.
Yeah, it's almost completely opposite. They went down 10-2 earlier in that game. They said they were a little too amped to start off, but they've really been able to calm their nerves here. You know, after that, though, they made up for it. They shot 50% from the field in that semifinal game. Allison
Thompson behind the defense and scores, and up and down the floor runs Columbus Grove, and they've opened up an 11-point lead at 13-2. Steele, Ochmoody comes away with a basketball. She crosses over, penetrates, the layup off the mark, and with the rebound for Rootstown is Colby Curl. Long outlet feed, though, is stolen away, and a jump ball is called, a held ball. And the basketball will go back to Columbus Grove right now.
You know, that's a tough pass to make from that side of the court down to under the basket when they got 2 defenders waiting on them. I'm sure Rootstown's coach there not too happy with that pass.
And in a situation like this, Camity, if you're Rootstown coach Joe Leonard, you have to remind your players you can't get this all back in one possession.
Exactly.
Jumper in the lane is good by Aubrey Schrader, and the Bulldogs getting great contributions from everybody other than the player we thought would lead the way.
This is one of those moments they really got to calm down again.
Fortman's jumper off the mark. And Rootstown will push back. Curall, the nice step through. The runner too short. And coming in to collect the miss is Fortman. As a team, Columbus Grove averages 28 rebounds a game. Rootstown, 29.
Another edge, Columbus Grove. You know, we've talked about her a little bit already, but they're big down low, 23. Nicole Nesby, she has ripped down a few rebounds for them already, and I'm sure she's not done anytime soon. They keep trying to set up this high pick and roll with her at the top. We'll see if that ever comes to fruition in this game too.
A 4-point win in the regional final, a 3-point win in the state semifinal for the Columbus Grove Bulldogs. Here's Ochmoody squaring up and scoring. Well, you weren't going to shut her down the whole game. Those are her first points in the game. And it's an 18-2 lead for Columbus Grove. Again, against pressure, which has caused all kinds of problems for the Rovers. Rolling to the bucket, the layup by Biddekuffer off the mark, and Ochmoody with the basketball. Long lead ahead intended for the chasing Kendall Paulty, sails past her and out of bounds, and Rootstown will get the basketball back. In their semi over Fort Fry, the Cadets, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, they only hit 14 three-point shots in that game. Only 14 three-point shots, and Rootstown still managed to battle back and win, but this is a much deeper hole than they experienced in that game. Here's an air ball jump shot that's pulled down by Columbus Grove, and the Bulldogs are running again. The lead to Fortman. Coming away with the ball is low, and she collides with Fortman, who is shaken up a little bit, but she looks like she'll be all right as she gets up after the collision.
You know, you always wince just a little bit when you know someone had a recent ACL tear. When something like that happens, you just gotta all tighten up just a little bit. We don't want to see anyone get injured.
Nadia Lowe, that happened back in June when she tore her ACL. It took her 5 months to get back from that, and that's an amazing recovery time for that serious of an injury. Here's a turnover along the baseline, and the basketball will go back to Columbus Grove.
You know, Rootstown, I think they're really going to have to figure out how to get the ball down in the half court and then calm down. So instead of treating it like a fast break, it kind of seems like that's what they're doing once they get an offensive look at the basket, maybe taking a step back and running one of their sets.
They've gone over 5 minutes without a bucket, have the Rovers, and contact as she made her way to the bucket will send Kendall Paulty back to the free throw line. It's the Division VI state championship game, and so far it has been all Columbus Grove. The Bulldogs out of the Northwest Conference and the Putnam County League, where they managed to win both championships. Kind of a unique dual presence for the school. Located in Northwest Ohio. One of the hotbeds for girls high school basketball in this state of Ohio. First Paulty free throw was good. Here's the collision and the foul. Sophie Smith coming over to contest the shot. A 16-0 run right now for Columbus Grove. Expands to 17-0, 20-2. Almost a turnover on the inbound. And again, it will be Rootstown against pressure. Cameron, what is this pressure doing to Rootstown? It seems as if it's really, it certainly got them all out of sorts entirely.
Definitely, and you know, even just there, making that chest pass right to a defender's hand, I mean, it's just, you just can't do that in the state championship game, right? I mean, fake a pass to make a pass, right?
Having to work so hard just to get into an offensive set. Low, rumbles into the lane, off balance runner, off the glass and in. First bucket for Rootstown in over 5.5 minutes. Nadia Lowe averages 13 points and 7 rebounds a game. 40 seconds left. Skip feed for the Thompson three, which is an air ball. Pulled down by Paulty on the weak side now. Leans in and finishes underneath. Kendall Paulty averages 5 points a game. That follow there from Paulty gives her 8 here in the first quarter alone. 20 seconds left. Columbus Grove has surged out to a big margin in this final game, but the answer inside as Sophie Smith finds the way to the bucket for Rootstown. 8 seconds left. Moody. Myers on the baseline. Moody wants the basketball back. Headed to the University of Findlay. Off a pick. Shot will not count even if it had, well, it did go in, but still came after the horn sounded. And that will do it for a first quarter that has belonged to Columbus Grove. Great play from everyone on the Bulldogs. While the focus is on Moody, it's been Kendall Paulty stepping up with 10 first quarter points. They lead by 16. Columbus Grove has sprinted out to a 22-6 lead over Rootstown in this D6 championship game. If the Rovers are not to give up the ship and battle back into this, they'll need the continued fine play of Nadia Lowe to do that. She has battled back from an ACL injury, which cost her the first 8 games of the season. And as we welcome Katie Pollock back into the broadcast, Katie, that's a very difficult injury to recover from, and she did a great job of it.
Thanks, Marty. Yeah, the Rootstown community involvement has really gotten behind this team. As the team kept winning, the community just got behind them more and more. Last week, after the semis win, the girls were signing autographs on the court for everybody. Members of the Rootstown basketball program, from 3rd and 4th graders to the varsity girls, went to University of Akron women's game together, and members of the 2008 regional finals team, which was Rootstown's best finish in the postseason, until now, have come back to speak to the team and talk about how special this is and how to approach this state tournament run.
Elliott Smallfield just knocked down a big 3 for Rootstown to start quarter number 2. 22-9 as Columbus Grove races back to their side of the floor offensively. And again, we have a foul near the bucket. Joe Leonard's team 27-1 this season. Smallfield stepping off the bench at the end of the first quarter. 5'6" sophomore, her 19th made 3 of the season.
That's the kind of three-point shot you like to see in a game, very in motion.
And the other thing, too, I think, Camity, about that three-pointer by Smallfield a moment ago, they finally were able to get into a set offensively.
Absolutely. we're hoping to see more of that too, right? Calm the ball down a little bit and see what sets they have up their sleeves.
Moody 1 for 2 at the line. She's a 72% shooter at the stripe. And Rootstown with the basketball. Curall races into the lane now, bumps bodies with Nesby. But Nesby able to step in front of her and corral the miss. Moody with the long lead to Paulty. Too long and out of bounds.
We've seen a couple of those transition passes from Columbus Grove, a couple just a little too high in the air. Maybe the vertical's not quite that high, but they got the right idea, right?
You're a head coach. I think you can understand the look on Brian Schrader's face right there, the head coach of Columbus Grove.
Like so close.
After watching that pass sail out of bounds. Minute into quarter number 2. It's a 23-9 lead for Columbus Grove. Spinning his Biddekuffer into the lane, and a whistle will send her to the line for the Rovers of Rootstown. And if they are to battle back into this game, a way to do it is get points early on with the clock stopped as Biddekuffer tries to navigate her way through defenders to the hoop.
One thing you also love to see, especially out of your guards, is to not be afraid of contact, especially under the basket. You see so many players, especially young players, go away from the contact, and the fact that she is going into the contact with relatively the tallest, strongest girl maybe on the court. I mean, that's great to see that type of fearlessness play in your players.
Coming up next, it's the Division 7 championship game, and that should be a heck of a high school basketball game. Fort Loramie and Waterford right here on Spectrum News 1. Our coverage with OHSAA championship game day starts at 5, the game at 5:15 right here on Spectrum News 1. Those two met for the Division 4 title last year, and they see each other again this year in the Division 7 championship game. Thompson able to score for Columbus Grove, and now hounding out high. Curall is a 2 tangle for the loose ball. Another held ball. The possession arrow gives the basketball back to Columbus Grove. What's impressive, I think, one of the things that's obviously impressive right now, Camity, about Columbus Grove, hands all over the place defensively, aggressive, defending and contesting every pass.
They're really anticipating the Rovers trying to get into the middle to break that press, and I don't know if they've gotten the ball in the middle to break the press yet.
Speaking of good hands, here's Curall with the steal. Races 2 Bulldogs to the bucket. And will get rewarded with a trip to the free throw line. Good anticipation here by Curall, stepping in front of that pass. She talked after their semifinal win what this means to get to the state championship game. She said, we spent the last couple of years watching teams that beat us play for the title on Spectrum. Thanks for the shout out, we appreciate that. But making it to the championship game, so they were tired of watching it on TV. They wanted to come play in the title game, and here they are today.
You know, one thing for the young players watching, something that these girls do so well on defense is they really bat the ball out of the other hands with their outside hand, causing, you know, a clean strip instead of a foul.
Lowe trying to work inside. Nesby with good defense, straight up and down. Knocks the ball away, and here comes Moody sprinting into the lane. Shot blocked on the way up by Curall as both teams' defense is starting to play hard on both sides. Racing down the floor, Curall, a charge is called. Take the basket away.
You have to be proud of those charges as a coach. Those are things that you practice all the time, right? Stepping in front, being still, being sturdy. Great display.
Lead stands at 14. Here's Moody coming into the lane. Good hands on the block there. And then a charge on the other side is Curall.
But again, one thing you have to be proud of, not afraid of the contact from Curall, and that's something you got to just keep taking it right down the middle, just like that.
Nesby trying to corral the loose ball, unable to do so. Rootstown shooting just 21% from the floor right now. As a team, they shoot 39% coming into the game. Joe Leonard talked earlier in the week about his team's offense, and he likes what they do with the basketball offensively. They've used their pressure for a big part of their ability to generate points on offense. They haven't been able to do it so far in this game. Lowe's elbow jumper is off the mark. And Moody, who averages 6 boards a game, clears the miss. And the turnover gives the ball back to Rootstown. And again, I think if you're Joe Leonard right now, Camity, let me again go into your coach's brain with this right now. With where this game is at, you're down 14, but there's still a lot of basketball left.
Yeah, and I think what I would do offensively to get the ball down the court is I would switch and take Lowe out of the middle because they keep trying to get the ball to her at half court in the middle. I might put her on a wing because that cross court pass is open. If they can draw a couple defenders to them in this full court press and then go over the top and maybe lead her a little bit, I think that would break the press a little bit more easily than trying to get it to the middle.
At Spectrum News, we're committed to strengthening the fabric of local communities through our reporting, with stories that inspire and news that matters on your smart TV and connected devices, streaming live 24/7. Plus on-demand weather forecast, it's all there as you step outside with the Spectrum News mobile app, keeping you informed in and in the know throughout your day. It's Spectrum News, your community connection exclusively for Spectrum customers, now available on your favorite devices. Winton Woods ran the table to win the Division II championship last night. Rootstown has won 17 straight. Crested Norwayne, which was just on the floor here, had their 19-game winning streak snapped by Portsmouth in that championship game. Pickering and Central will look to extend their winning streak in the Division I title game tonight. Nadia Lowe bumped off balance as she came away with the loose ball. The foul on Columbus Grove. It's on Elise Fortman. Good job of relocating on the inbounds pass by Biddicuffer, and she scores. Took the return feed and casually splashed home the three.
Exactly kind of three-point shot you want to be seeing taken by your shooters. Very in motion, very in play, great shot.
31% as a team, and don't look now, but the lead's down to 11, and that may not sound like much, but it's been as high as 16 in this game early on. Moody into the lane, jump stop, and the roll. Lauren Moody.
She does a beautiful job of getting into the middle and getting a little extra air time, so it throws the defense off just a little bit. As they're coming down, she's still in the air.
4-year varsity starter at Columbus Grove. Low into the lane, ball knocked away. And again, the Columbus Grove pressure starting to pay dividends again. Moody on the race to the bucket. And a charge is called on Moody as she went down the lane, hustling back to get position with Sophie Smith.
That's the exact kind of spark you kind of need out of a team that's down 13 points, right? Picking up a charge can just change the momentum completely. Great play there. Again, not afraid of the physicality, love to see it.
And sometimes it's little things like that that can kind of jumpstart you when you're struggling. For Moody, the foul. And by the count of the official stat monitor, that's 3 on Moody. Make sure that that's correct. Here's a steal out high, back runs Columbus Grove. Fortman dribbles inside. .417 to go here in the first half. Two players bump bodies on the inbound. The layup attempt by Palty is off the mark.
Interesting play there.
Yeah. Back runs Rootstown. Into the game is Mia Damacone. And that is 3 fouls on Moody, which is obviously a big number right now. And Brian Schrader, I don't necessarily want to say rolling the dice and leaving her in the game because he obviously knows her abilities and her talent, but still a lot of basketball to be played and to be on the floor with 3 personal fouls in the first half.
You know, that's always hard mentally as a player too, because you want to go all out, but those are the kind of things you see her swat right there that you kind of start second guessing as you go, but you can't stop being aggressive either. It's a really fine line.
Moody with the basketball, the crossover again, able to jump stop and penetrate, and gets knocked to the floor, and will have free throws as we come back from the timeout. Rootstown trying to battle back. Kelsey Biddicuffer, a step back 3, trying to keep the Rovers close. They're down by the baker's dozen in the D6 title game. Columbus Grove has raced out to a 13-point lead here in this second quarter of our Division VI state championship game here on Spectrum News 1. If it were a night game, we could call both these teams first-timers, but it's an afternoon game, so that really doesn't fit. But this is their first time in this state championship game for both of these schools, along with Winton Woods, Bellevue, Norwayne, and Maganor all making it to these championship games. And you see that getting to this championship game with just difficult semifinal wins. Joe Leonard's Rovers team having to knock off a very good Fort Fry team. And for Columbus Grove, their win over Minster, again, one of the powerhouses in Northwest Ohio high school girls basketball. Both having to win by 3 to get here. There's Lauren Ochmoody, 6 points and 3 personal fouls, make it 7 as she knocks down the free throw. But we'll keep an eye on that 3 foul number. Again, there's 3:51 left in the second quarter. You have to think there's a sub at the bench coming in now, candidly.
Yeah, that's what I'm anticipating, and there we go. Yep, now we're seeing it. Because get as low as you can in the quarter, right? Get as much time off the clock as you can. Take her out. Also give her a rest. Take a little break. You've done great. Get someone else in, and you've got other players who are definitely making offensive moves, so hopefully they won't miss her too much on the offensive side.
And you would have to think, too, if this game were much tighter, she'd probably still be on the floor right now. But as you said, and I think accurately so, when you've got this kind of an advantage, you can buy some minutes right now.
Absolutely, and we see their defense just continuously giving the Rovers issues. So maybe even hope to pick up a couple transition buckets in these last few minutes without Ochmoody on the bench too.
And they've had to play in situations where Ochmoody hasn't been much of a factor in their game against one of their big rivals. One of the hurdles they had to clear to get here, Convoy Crestview. She didn't score, Ochmoody did, in the first half of the game. She finished with 9, but they still found a way to win, and that's a big plus for this basketball team. And I think Brian Schrader, understanding where his team is at, that they can navigate their way through this right now.
And that's a real testament to the whole team, right? Because you really can't get here and expect to do well and win in a game where you only have one player, right?
Allison Thompson out high picks up the foul, trying to poke that lob pass away. Good look at Brian Schrader in his 11th year. If they win the title today, it would be his 230th as a head basketball coach. Mentioned that win over Convoy Crestview. That had been a real thorn in the side of Columbus Grove. They had lost to them 6 times in a 4-year span in tournament play. Addie Gurman back in, along with Biddekuffer. Gurman, a very good perimeter shooter. 31% from the three-point line. And the lead at 13 again as we roll towards the 3-minute mark here in this second quarter. The dribble drive inside. Aubrey Schrader.
Great pass right there. Drawing the defensive players and getting it down to Nesby, who's wide open, sealing her player there. Just a beautiful offensive play.
Schrader doing a nice job of weaving her way through traffic, then leaving the ball off for Nesby and the bucket. The 3 for Rootstown, off the mark by Smallfield. And tangling for that loose ball in front of the Columbus Grove bench. Down on the floor was Elise Fortman. And the basketball will go back to Columbus Grove.
You know, always the hard thing when a three-point shot goes up, if it does, hit the rim and not go in, it's like an average of 9 feet of the rebound, 9 feet from the basket. So even though you go into block out, stuff like that happens more often than not on those rebounding of the three-point shots.
Tough catch inside by Nesby on a tough pass and a strong finish for Nicole Nesby for Columbus Grove. See, that's why I'm glad you're here, Coach. You had that right down, 9 feet. If it's math, I'm running and hiding. So,
I always tell everyone, basketball is so much about angles. It is so much about balance and kind of like the boring stuff that you might think. But really, if you know the angles and you know the balance and your body awareness and balance and whatnot, you're going to be set.
I think there are coaches everywhere going, I don't think that's boring at all.
I don't think it's boring either, so I hope there's people out there like that.
Nadia Lowe, a held ball, and the basketball will stay with Rootstown. 2:13 to go here in this first half. The Rovers out of the Portage Trail Conference. They were the league champions, trying to battle their way back into this championship game, and there's a foul on the block. Allison Thompson racing over and collided with the three-point shooter.
She might have hit her head on her coach's leg there. We'll have to see. Oh no, and his knee's sticking out.
That was Gurman who went down. And the head coach, Joe Leonard, out there as well, too. The athletic training staff coming over as well. Eddie Gurman being tended to in front of the Columbus Grove bench. Our community is incredibly dynamic and diverse in many ways, and of course, so is Ohio's weather. That's why at Spectrum News 1, we make sure you have the accurate information to help you plan your day every day. We know Ohio weather can change and does change quickly, and when it does, we're here tracking it all for you so you know what to expect. Watch the Spectrum News 1 weather experts on your TV and on the go with the Spectrum News app, exclusively on Spectrum. Gurman will be assisted off the floor right now with 2:10 to go here in this first half.
Really hate to see that kind of thing in a state championship game, especially. And it looks like, you know, it might be a shot to the head, and that's even a little bit scarier, especially with everything we know about concussions now. It's right to take her back there and just make sure everything is okay.
Colby Curall at the line, the 5'10 junior. Unable to get the free throw to roll in. We referenced a couple of times that situation or that mindset, I guess more to the point, that Rootstown has about not giving up the ship. In their district final, they were down 4 in the fourth quarter despite shooting 1 of 11 from the three-point line in that game. They allowed 23 first quarter points in that district final come from behind victory. Mentioned that Fort Fry rally where they withstood that barrage of extra point shots. And then against Smithville in their regional final, they didn't score for the first 5 minutes of that game and battled back to win. So they've been in this position before. And a unforced error on the perimeter. Allison Thompson took her eyes off that pass and it sails out of bounds.
We're close enough to see their facial expressions too, right? And as soon as it happened, she just winced. You know that one hurt.
So 1:50 to go in the half. And Rootstown with the basketball. Biddekuffer inside low. Curall, they go back to the wing. And rotating back out to reset the offense is Smallfield, the 5'6 sophomore. Hit a big three earlier in this second quarter. Inside low, just trying to muscle her way through the defense, unable to get the shot to roll. And back comes Columbus Grove with the basketball. Again, Moody on the bench with 3 fouls. Fortman on the baseline is double teamed. Here's Thompson. Out high for the Schrader three that was deflected on the way up. The ball goes out of bounds and will belong to Rootstown. Good hands out high defensively, affected that shot. So Rootstown with a chance to inch a little closer here. Obviously the goal is to get it under double figures before the half, but without the ability, I think, to do that down 16 and time running out, just getting closer is a big bonus if they can hang on to the basketball.
Yeah, Rootstown's doing a good job of getting the ball to the middle to low. That's clearly what they're trying to do. But Columbus Grove is doing a great job just collapsing on her and not letting her get that shot off. So that extra pass is just really tough to make out of a very crowded lane.
Foul was on Aubrey Schrader of Columbus Grove. Moody's going to come back into the game with 36 seconds left in the quarter. Smallfield at the line for Rootstown. And gets the home court roll on the free throw attempt. We're right back here at the UD Arena next weekend for the OHSA Boys State Tournament. And we'll have that for you next weekend as well. But don't forget, coming up at the half, it's the Skyline Chili halftime report. Andy Baskin and Dave Sakuti will break down our first half of this game, plus the latest news and weather with Spectrum News 1's Taylor Bruck, Alexa Maslowski, and Tyler Seabury. We'll also have a conversation with the OHSA Senior Director of Finance, Laura Vermilia, and that all comes your way at the intermission. We got a lot of basketball and a lot of things to talk about here on Spectrum News 1 coming up at the intermission and all throughout the rest of the day. Moody back in the game with 20 seconds left. As the clock winds down in the first half, it's been dominated by Columbus Grove, trying to get one more bucket before the intermission. Down to 4, down to 3, ball into the hands of Moody. She squares, good if it goes off the glass, and that will do it for half number 1 in this Division 6 state championship game. Columbus Grove started the game with the lead. They go to the half with the lead in this D6 state championship game. They have been dominant here in this first half as they head to the locker room trying to win the school's first ever state championship in their first ever appearance in the state championship game. Katie Pollock is with Brian Schrader.
Thank you so much, Marty. So, Coach, 17-point scoring run in the first quarter. Been leading the whole half. Are you happy with how the girls have been playing so far?
Yeah, I thought we started off really strong. I thought we got a little bit sloppy offensively with the basketball. We got to do a better job of taking care of the ball, but I thought our defensive intensity was pretty good for the most part. We gave them a few too many paint touches and got into a little bit of foul trouble, but we were able to weather the storm.
All right, weather the storm. You are 1/2 away from winning the state title. What's a halftime message for these girls right now to kind of keep them in check?
Yeah, you want us to continue to be aggressive, treat it like it's a tie game. Every possession matters. Obviously, you've seen a lot of basketball. Things can go the other way in a hurry, so we got to continue to get stops, take care of the basketball offensively.
Okay, thanks so much, Coach. Guys, back to you.
A 14-point lead at the half for Columbus Grove, trying to win a state championship in the first ever D6 title game. We're at the intermission. Our halftime report's coming up next on Spectrum News 1.
You're watching the OHSAA State Basketball Championships on Spectrum News 1 and the Spectrum News app.
A great look at one of the landmarks in the Gem City, Dayton, Ohio, also the home of high school basketball here in the state over the next 2 weekends. The boys tournament follows next weekend, but right now the girls tournament, the focus of our attention. It's the Division 6 state championship game. We welcome you back inside the UD Arena. Cameron Rudd, Marty Bannister, 33-19 is the lead for Columbus Grove as we get ready to start half number 2. Lots of things to see from that first half highlight-wise, and our highlights are brought to you by Akron Children's. Fewer season-ending injuries, more season-continuing care with Akron Children's Sports Health. Both teams got out, started to run. The pressure, though, from Columbus Grove was a big factor in that first half, Camity.
Yeah, definitely. We saw a lot of pressure, high-pressure defense coming from Columbus Grove. And, Britsville just didn't really have an answer for it yet, so I'm sure we'll see some adjustments that they've made. Like we mentioned too earlier, Lauren Moody, she's got 3 fouls, so you might be telling them to take the ball towards her, try to get her to pick up another quick one, see if she can sit for a little bit. Although Columbus Grove really evenly spread out with points as far as scoring, as you see Pulte score right there.
Kendall Pulte led the way with 10 points in the first half. Moody had 3 fouls in that first half. Our first half stats are brought to you by Cincinnati Blue Ash College. And as you look at those numbers right there, Rootstown struggling shooting the basketball, just 22%. They were unable to get anything going offensively, and a lot of that, again, kind of falls back to the pressure we were talking about. Just 4 of 18 from the field. Columbus Grove dominating on the glass. A lot of that generated into second chance points as well, too, with 5, and points in the paint. Big in the first half as well, Camity.
Absolutely, and that 22% field goal percentage for Rootstown, it's got to be too. They're getting a lot of hands and a lot of deflections, so they're catching those passes maybe a little strangely not super crisp. So let's see what some of the adjustments that they made and talked about during halftime.
Columbus Grove starts the second half with the basketball, and they start the second half like they started the game, weaving away to the baseline again is Kendall Pulte, now with a dozen, and the lead surges to 16 points for Columbus Grove. Rootstown with the basketball, 27-1 this season. Columbus Grove coming in at 26-2 in this first ever Division 6 state championship game. And Columbus Grove throws a zone at Rootstown to start the second half.
We look like Columbus Grove came out in a 1-3-1. I don't think we've seen that yet this game. They probably said, let's throw something different at them because they probably prepared to play off of that diamond and one a little bit. But the 1-3-1 clearly did what it was supposed to do.
We heard from Brian Schrader as his team went to the locker room. As we check in with Katie Pollock, let's find out what Joe Leonard told his team.
Thanks, Marty. All right, well, I talked to Coach. He said obviously it was a rough start with shots just weren't going in. He said the girls were nervous. It comes down to that they were nervous. They did calm down in the the second quarter. He said in Columbus Grove, he said came out and all their shots were going in, you know, obviously as Rootstown's weren't. As far as a halftime talk, he said they were down in the district finals about 10, 11 points in the third quarter. He said they are not overwhelmed. They know they can come back and they just need to settle down.
They may not be overwhelmed, but they're doubled up right now, down 38-19 after Nesby converts the free throws. And we start this third quarter a minute in, and again, they're having trouble getting their offense going. Biddecover back irons a three, low tracks down the miss. They'll reset. Out high for Gurman, her three off the mark. And inside Nesby, who's done a great job around the glass. Threw the ball to Ogmoody, who was in the seated position under the basket.
I think she was as surprised as all of us that she got that pass.
Timeout on the floor to save the possession. Here's the look inside as Nesby strong to the bucket for Columbus Grove.
It'll be interesting to see what Columbus Grove comes out defensively now. Let's see if they continue to pick them up full court. They're all, you know, up about 19, almost 20 now. See if they back up and stay in that 1-3-1, or maybe that was just a kind of a one-off. Just throw something different at them to start the half and maybe get back into a more normal defense. Be interesting to see.
The boys state tournament reaches the University of Dayton Arena next weekend, and of course all the action right here on Spectrum News 1. On Friday it's Divisions 3, 4, and 2, followed on Saturday by Divisions 5, 6, 7, and 1, all 7 championships on Spectrum News 1 and the Spectrum News app, as well as on OHSAA.tv. Out of the timeout, Columbus Grove with the basketball. Good ball movement. An open Thompson three is off the mark. And loose ball tracked down by Sophie Smith of Rootstown, and she is knocked to the deck out high. I wonder too, Camity, and again, you know this from your coaching background, with Lauren Ogmoody playing with 3 personal fouls, does that play into Brian Schrader perhaps going zone here in the second half?
Yeah, that's a great point. And, you know, protect her just a little bit and then maybe unleash it back in the fourth quarter, right? Gain some time back, see what you have. Because really, she gets stuff going on the offensive end, so you really would like to keep her in as much as possible.
Rootstown on the inbound with the basketball. Good ball moving out high. Biddecover, a straight-on three, knocks it down.
Great pass. I think that's what we're going to have to see more from the Rovers, is using Lowe as more of a passer and getting her more assists, because they're doing a great job defending her. Columbus
Grove wasting little time getting back down the floor, getting into the offensive set. Schrader penetrates. Here's the setup for the three, and a good look right there by Biddecover. She's a transfer, came in 2 years ago into the program, but she is the daughter of a coach, so has that coach's IQ, if you will, on the floor, something Joe Leonard praised her highly for earlier in the week.
You know, I remember hearing from Coach Leonard and him saying, we were very happy when they transferred into our town. They built a house, and we were extremely happy when we heard that they were moving in and she was going to play basketball for us.
Aubrey Schrader at the line for Columbus Grove. We're almost 2 minutes into the second half. And again, it's the Division 6 state championship game. The first time Ohio has played 7 divisions. The expansion coming at the end of last season. Semifinals were last week. The 4 packed houses in the state. The atmosphere that Columbus Grove played at it, but the legendary Elida Fieldhouse was so much a factor of their atmosphere and their pressure and the way they played that game last week against Minsk. Ogmoody with the basketball as they push back. Meyer starts her penetration and the ball knocked away. That's the one thing too, if you're not familiar with high school basketball in this state, there are so many tremendous houses to go see games at in this state. Gymnasiums, arenas, and there were packed houses last week. There was a great atmosphere over in Springfield last night for the boys' regional final game. It has been a heck of a week here for high school basketball in the state of Ohio.
March really is the best.
Pass inside intended for Nesby, sails through her hands and out of bounds. And Rootstown will get the basketball back. As Joe Leonard told Katie Pollock, we just have to continue to play our game. And again, they have an opportunity to edge a little closer right here. Biddecover, 5'2" senior guard. And ball knocked out of bounds. And again, that pressure that Columbus Grove has been able to apply, again, just not letting Rootstown get into any real sustained flow offensively.
Yeah, now we're seeing that a half-court 2-3 a little bit extended from them. This is what I was expecting to see from the Rovers, this full-court press, and I hope we see more of that because I really think that could put them in a good spot to make up for a few extra points here.
Nesby tracks down the Palty miss, gets the return feed in the lane. Moody, you can't leave her open like that, and that's why. Lauren Moody, one of the top players in the state of Ohio. Over 2,000 points in her career. She splashes home a big three to increase the lead to 20. Moody, if it's fair to call this a very quiet 11 points here in this game.
That's what's so great about her. She really is kind of that silent weapon. You know it's coming, but it's so easy. It's effortless for her.
Contested board ball three off of Smallfield. Pulled down by Moody. They quickly beat the pressure. Into the lane, rolling to the bucket is Schrader, and she scores. Aubrey Schrader has 7 points. And Joe Leonard has to call a timeout just when it seemed like Rootstown might have a little bit of a flow. Columbus Grove turns it back their side with the pressure and that just flip of the switch mentality they seem to have, and at least it's worked in this game right now as they have again doubled up Rootstown. They've increased the lead to 44-22 at the 4:23 mark here, quarter number 3.
I gotta mention that last layup, Schrader, great move. She gets her left shoulder on the inside, gets past her defender. Look at that kick out right there. This is the play before. Great kick out from Big Nesby down low to Moody. And then over here, she just gets her left shoulder around that player and goes all the way in down the center instead of taking them on the side of the layup. Just a smart play and great awareness that she has now moved past her defender and to take it all the way in instead of look out for that kick out again.
Time now for our trivia question in our game this afternoon. It's brought to you by Cincinnati State Community College. When was the last time two teams making their first ever state tournament appearances met in the championship game of girls basketball? We'll have the answer coming up for you shortly. You cannot Google it. Don't go to the worldwide interwebs. Don't do any of that.
That's what I would have to do.
Just search your memory, your basketball memory. We have such great basketball fans in Ohio. I'm sure somebody can come away with that.
Absolutely.
Without looking on the web. Play back in. Rootstown with the basketball. Biddicuffer finds Kerman. She's been unable to get into any kind of flow. Here's a loose ball knocked into the backcourt. Good hustle by Smallfield. But it's, as most every 50-50 ball has, ended up into the hands of Columbus Grove. Penetration to the baseline by Palty. And another follow up and in inside as again they continue to dominate the glass. Nicole Nesby, they have a 10-board advantage, do the Bulldogs of Columbus Grove. The hoist and the finish by Gurman.
It's nice to see her back in the game too, and she took that hard fall in the second quarter and to then nail the three. Love to see that.
Tempo starts to pick up just a bit. Rumbling down the lane to the bucket is Schrader, got her own miss. Loose ball tracked down near side by Biddicuffer. Rootstown trying to battle back in a game they trail by 21. Smallfield steps back and the rebound into the hands of Moody. And she's fouled as she started up the floor. Reaching in was Chloe Bankston. 3:12 to go in this third quarter. Columbus Grove getting it done inside. And Rootstown trying to battle back from the outside. Grove by 21. The rights to this broadcast have been granted by the OHSAA. Any rebroadcast or republication of the programming without the written consent of Spectrum News 1 and the OHSAA is strictly prohibited. In other words, do not do it. The answer to our trivia question, the last time two teams making their first ever state tournament appearance met in the championship game of girls basketball, 2007. The legendary Columbus Afrocentric Early College program defeated another very good girls high school program, New Knoxville, 44-27 in the 2007 state championship game. Kind of odd not to see Afrocentric here in one of the divisions. They seemingly have hotel rooms reserved in Dayton about every year. Unable to get here, though, this year. And Rootstown with a steal out of the timeout. Low, quickly ahead now for Gurman. She'll back out high and they'll reset. Bit of cover, spins into traffic. Curall down the lane, tries to scoop. Too strong, and the weak side rebound into the hands of Allison Thompson. And the Bulldogs are sprinting back on offense. Good bounce pass across the lane to Paldy, who leans in and finishes. You were nodding your head in agreement on that bounce pass. Cameron, you liked that, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought that was a great look, and I was just thinking, you know, Schrader, she is so long. Her limbs are so long. So on offense, those little dump down passes like that look very easy for her. And then on the defensive side, she's getting hands all over the place. She's causing deflections. She's kind of everywhere for them right now.
Sophie Smith and Elliott Smallfield come back into the Rootstown lineup. That is just the fourth team foul. There was some momentary hesitation, thinking that might have been 5. It is indeed 4. Again, girls high school basketball. Well, high school basketball all across the state of Ohio. 5 team fouls per quarter, then we reset. I think that helps the flow of the game so much more than the old 7, then 10 foul per half.
It took me a minute to get used to it, but now, you know, yeah, I agree.
A steal, step back 3 off the mark by Bankston. And the loose ball out of bounds. Good hustle over there by Rootstown's Bankston, trying to save that loose ball back in. Rootstown on the inbound. Bankston doing a lot of work right there. Splits defenders into the zone. The runner back iron. And Nesby, who's dominated the glass, that's her 13th rebound of the game, collects that miss. And we have a player shaken up. That's Curall. Joe Leonard out checking on his 5'10" junior guard. People need a place to explore national issues that have an impact on their community. To understand those issues better, we bring together our team of local political journalists from across the country to break down what's happening. Watch The Big Deal with Errol Lewis following our championship game coming up tonight on Spectrum News 1 and on every Friday night, that at 9 o'clock. On the inbound, Columbus Grove with the basketball. Quick feed into the corner now for the Fortman 3, which is too strong. Tracked down to the near side by Schrader. Nicole Nesby has 9 points, 13 rebounds today for Columbus Grove.
I was just going to say, you know, the Rovers have to do a better job of blocking her out. I was going to say, I don't know how many rebounds she has, 13, but she's been a menace on the boards.
Well, that's why we make such a good team. Our minds are working the same way. Which should scare you to death. Inside, here's Nesby fouled as she tried to navigate her way free near the bucket. She'll step to the free throw line, looking to enter that double-double category. And again, another nice bounce pass right there by Schrader.
Yeah, Columbus Grove is doing a really great job of drawing the defenders to them and making that extra pass for that clean look, or in this case, the foul into 2 free throw shots.
A double-double day at the state championship game for Nicole Nesby. Now 10 points and 13 rebounds. 6-foot junior. Again, Columbus Grove starts 4 juniors. Yes, they do lose Lauren Ockmoody after this season, but that's a pretty solid core coming back next year for Brian Schrader.
We might be looking at their starting lineup for next year right now.
1:10 to go in this third quarter. The lead at 25. They've spent most of this game, as we mentioned, the Nicole Nesby double-double. They have doubled up Rootstown for most of this third quarter, now up 50-25. And there again, you see the defense just causing all kinds of problems. And on the inbound, a foul on Mia Damacone, who had checked in for Rootstown.
I know they just picked up that foul, but that's the kind of defense I'd like to see out of Rootstown, right? Trapping on the sidelines in that full court. That's going to maybe create a little spark, get a couple easy buckets off of that. Steal maybe, a couple transitions, and makes all the difference.
This has been a state tournament filled with sisters playing for all these teams, related players up and down the rosters. Columbus Grove certainly has that on their side. With more on that, here's Katie Pollock.
Marty, all right, there's a lot of Schroeders on this Columbus Grove roster, so we needed to sort through it. All right, daughter of head coach Brian, Ava, she's a sophomore, she's on the team, but she's an injury, a season-long injury, so she doesn't dress for games. There's Ella, who's a freshman, she's on JV, she's a cousin, and Aubrey, she's also a freshman, same last name, but she's actually not related.
Which is just remarkable, isn't it? You would think that would be the case. After a three by Smallfield for Rootstown, they come away with a turnover and push back as we go under a minute left in the third quarter. Smallfield again into trouble. Lowe comes away with a rebound, or the loose ball rather than the lane, and she'll get free throws out of this. And she'll step to the line. Winton Woods last night in the Division II championship game, there were 3 sisters on that team. Earlier in the day, Purcell Marion had sisters on their team. It's almost too much to keep track of.
I always think, how do you get lucky enough to have 2, 3, 4? I mean, you could basically house a team with that. You get that. That's some good luck for those teams.
Last night, Anthony Wayne had the Bender sisters, Elise and Brooke, who are both going on to play at Villanova. Lowe at the free throw line. 51-30 now the lead. Lowe with 4 points, 4 rebounds here in this state championship game, and a foul in the backcourt. 35 seconds left here in quarter number 3 of this Division VI state championship game.
It'll be interesting to see if the Rovers come out in that full court press in the fourth quarter. I would assume that they would, because again, the fouls will start over, right? So we won't see them at the line as much. Maybe they can start to really create something off of that full court press.
With the girls holding court here for the state championships here at the University of Dayton Arena. The boys state championships come up next weekend. The semifinals are this weekend. Tomorrow, Divisions 1, 2, and 3. Live on Spectrum News and the Spectrum News app. Games begin at noon, 3 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. And will also be available for you as well on ohsaa.tv. The nearby Nutter Center at Wright State playing host to a trio of games tomorrow in the boys state semifinals. 23 seconds left. Here's the elbow jumper up and good by Chloe Bengston. 17 seconds left in the quarter. Columbus Grove leading 51-32. In the corner with the basketball is Myers. Moody on the bench right now. As a quarter expires, a 3 is short, and that will do it for 3 quarters of play in the Division VI state championship game. 2 teams playing for their first ever state championship in their first ever state championship game in the first ever Division VI state championship game. Go to the fourth quarter. Our game summary this afternoon brought to you by Clark County Public Library. Discover the Clark County Public Library, providing information for all of Ohio. The information you need to know right now, Columbus Grove has a 19-point lead going into the fourth quarter of this Division VI state championship game. They've been getting it done on both ends of the floor, inside, outside. They've been in complete control of this game, Camity.
Yeah, they really have, and you know, their great defense has led to some great offensive plays. And it's interesting because they've kind of fallen back into that 2-3 zone. We're not seeing that right now, but it's still so aggressive that it's causing just as much chaos.
We start quarter number 4 of our Division VI state championship game, along with Camity Rudd, Katie Pollock, Gene Winters, and our entire Spectrum News 1 crew. I'm Marty Bannister, and we're glad you're with us here for this Division VI title game. 3 airborne and good by Addie Gurman. It's an awkward-looking shot, but it finds the bottom more often than not. Her 64th made 3 of the season.
And you know, you love to see plays like this because this is clearly what they practiced, right? This is a set. She comes off of screen, very tight, curls around there, catches the perfect pass, goes up with a shot. They've clearly practiced that a time or two.
Almost starts from her hip as she comes up and releases. Moody back in the game for Columbus Grove. Ahead for Schrader, who penetrates and scores. Aubrey Schrader with some good minutes off the bench. She's in double figures, the 4th Columbus Grove player in double figures. Paulty leads the way with 14. Moody and Nesby with 11 each. Nesby's got the double-double today. And Schrader now with 10 points and 3 rebounds in her own right. 45 seconds into quarter number 4. Nadia Lowe into traffic, loses her balance, and a held ball. Possession arrow gives the basketball back to Columbus Grove.
The fans not really liking that call. You know, sometimes it does feel like they call those jumps really quickly, but you kind of have to, right, before it gets a little messy.
Chloe Bankston laying out for that loose ball. Turnovers in this game right now. Well, there have been a number of them. There have been a grand total of 36. 19 belong to Rootstown. 17 belong to Columbus Grove. But Columbus Grove, they lead this game by 18. They've scored 19 points, Camity, off those turnovers. Lowe loses her balance, loses the basketball, and Columbus Grove runs back with numbers. Rootstown able to get back defensively. Out high, Paulty. Here's Myers. And out high, Gurman bumps into Moody and picks up a personal foul.
You know, you talk about those turnovers too. The other side of it, Rootstown only shooting 28% from the field, so you can't really have 18, 19, 20 turnovers and be shooting not as well as usual, right?
19 turnovers and 9 made field goals. That's a tough equation to try to have on your side, try and win a game. Lowe up the floor, able to dish the ball off for Bidekupper's 3 that's off the mark. And on the tussle for the loose ball, Rootstown keeps it as Gurman finds the ball, and then she is fouled. This is on Allison Thompson of Columbus Grove.
We're just seeing great hustle out of both of these teams. Super aggressive, and I love to see it. And you expect it at the state championship level, but it is really exciting to watch, and it's really encouraging to watch, too, for the future of basketball in both of these programs, really.
While Lauren Moody kind of been the focus of the foul issues in this game with 3, she's held that since the first quarter. That foul a moment ago on Allison Thompson, that was her 5th, so her afternoon is done in this championship game. Pull-up jumper in the lane is off the mark by Bankston, and the rebound into the hands of Schrader, and back run the Bulldogs with the basketball. Nesby finds Myers in the corner. And Gurman comes away with the loose ball, and here comes the Rovers. From Rootstown, Ohio, in the northeast part of the state, Portage County. Good finish in the lane, and Joe Leonard right away wants a timeout.
That was a great pass by Nadia Lowe right there. Instead of taking that little 8-foot jumper, she sees a better shot, makes the last-second decision to pass down low. Great decision.
And at the timeout, a 16-point lead for Columbus Grove with 5:59 to go. There can be a lot of noise out there when it comes to politics. On Capitol this week, we go beyond that. We try to make sure we don't just tell people what's happening, but we analyze the legislation. And we're also able to give them a good sense for what it will ultimately mean for them and their community. Capitol this week, Wednesdays at 7 and 11 p.m., and it's only on Spectrum News 1. Good look at the Rootstown bench surrounding head coach Joe Leonard. 27-1 coming into this state championship game. Nadia Lowe with a bucket that will long be remembered in Rootstown basketball history. Her game-winning field goal against Smithville in the regional final, where she kind of twisted her way through 2 defenders on the baseline and banked the bucket in. She talked about that afterwards, saying, I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew where I was going with the basketball. But today, Brian Schrader's Columbus Grove team not taking their foot off the pedal in this one and not allowing the Rovers to try to get the ship back in this game.
They prepared really well to play against Nadia Lowe in this game, and you can see their defense just collapse on her. They know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. That's a well-coached team with a really good game plan, obviously being executed at a high level.
Columbus Grove had made 4 straight regional tournament appearances prior to getting over the hump and getting here to this state championship game and to the state tournament. And that had kind of been a thorn in their side, that inability to get past that regional tournament. They've had some very good teams in the past. Obviously, they have a very good team here that's a little over 5 minutes away from potentially winning its first championship. Nesby with a nice catch and a nice recognition that the baseline was open and spinning inside and scoring. Nesby with 13 points, 14 rebounds in this state title game.
You know, one thing Coach Leonard said also about his squad is they're small, but they are mighty, and he's right. I mean, they are not afraid of contact. They're very aggressive, and you won't see them backing down, whether it's going in for a layup or nailing a 3-point shot just like that.
Nice inside-outside game as Lowe saw Bidicuffer wide open on the wing, and she was able to splash the 3. Here's Akhmoudi on the quick step through now for Columbus Grove, but a turnover as Myers shuffled her feet. And that turnover for Columbus Grove, that's their 20th. Brian Schrader, you can see at the top of your screen went palms up. What?
Just a little shuffle step, right there, split
little,
second.
Yeah,
just a little. We saw it there.
Rootstown with the basketball as we hit the 5-minute mark. It's a 15-point game. The floater by Bidicuffer off the mark. And the glass, which has been dominated by Columbus Grove, they control the miss, their 32nd rebound in this game. Akhmoudi, who will play collegiately at the University of Findlay. .2,000-point career scorer. Hit the game-winning shot in that Minster State semifinal win after a huge offensive rebound by Paulty. Back runs Rootstown with the basketball. Gurman steps back, and the shot won't stay down, and Nesby again with the rebound.
That was a tough shot, but it looked like it was going in from my angle.
Akhmoudi pounded out high, bumped off balance and fouled. Coming out high to challenger was Bidicuffer. Columbus Grove behind the big double-double day of Nicole Nesby, inching towards the school's first state championship, up 15. Well, you would think coming into the game that Lauren Akhmoudi would be the logical candidate for player of the game. Not so fast, my friend. Nicole Nesby has stepped up with a double-double in this state title game. 13 points, 16 rebounds. She's our player of the game, brought to you by Express, Pro Tire and Auto. Service you deserve, professionals you trust. In a big, big game from Nicole Nesby, helping Columbus Grove make their way towards a state championship. They are 3 minutes and 57 seconds away from doing just that with a 15-point lead.
I want to also note that Nesby is 5 for 5 from the field. She has not missed a shot, so you know where you want to go if you need a shot, which they obviously don't right now, but she is being very efficient tonight.
And also 3 of 3 at the free throw line. So, as Camity said, hasn't missed a shot in this game yet. Now, of course, you know the announcer's jinx in full effect here when she goes to the line, or her first miss. The Nesby family, if they're watching or have relatives watching, they're going to blame that squarely on me, and I'll deflect that quickly on you. Okay, 3:50 left in the game. It's all about team, right?
No, I'll take half of that. I brought that up.
Columbus Grove on the inbound. Good look to the baseline. Akhmoudi, the mid-range. Too strong, and there's Nesby again to come away with the loose ball, but could not control the errant shot out of bounds. And the basketball goes back to Rootstown. One of the things that had been said about Brian Schrader's Columbus Grove basketball team by opposing coaches, if you're going to beat them, you better put them away early in a game. And, well, they never really had that opportunity in this game to Rootstown. This was 18-2 early on in this game. Here's Gurman hoisting and scoring again. Addie Gurman knocks down another 3-point shot. She's got 3 of those and 9 points in the game.
Another thing about that shot, it's so quick.
Yes.
Her release is so fast.
The step through and the finish counted on a foul. Aubrey Schrader with the answer drive for Columbus Grove.
one thing that makes this Columbus Grove team so tough to guard too is the scoring is so evenly dispersed between the whole team. I mean, we've got a few in double digits, and they're really playing to their own strengths. They're not really creating anything that's too tough. You can tell that they're really settled in to that kind of offense and disciplined in the way they want to play.
Foul was on Gurman, her fourth. And at the line is Columbus Grove's Aubrey Schrader. And the rebound pulled down by Nadia Lowe. Pressure in the backcourt. We approach 3 minutes left. It's a 14-point lead. Here's Lowe rumbling into the lane, but the pass is stolen. Moody steps in front of the basketball and comes away with it for the Bulldogs of Columbus Grove. That part of her game, I don't think we've talked enough about that, her ability on the defensive end of the floor. Big reason why she's had the success that she has had. Obviously the ball handling, the point guard ability.
Yeah, she's really just important on both ends of the court. She's done a great job of really controlling a tempo. She's knowing when to speed it up, when to slow it down. She's got a really good handle and clearly a very high basketball IQ.
Elliott Smallfield picked up the Rootstown foul. That's their fifth team foul. It is one of the more highly anticipated games of this championship weekend, and it's next on Spectrum News 1. It's the Division 7 title game between two powerhouses, Fort Loramie and Waterford. It will be followed up by Princeton and Pickering and Central in the Division 1 game at 8:30. OHSA Championship starts 15 minutes before each game right here on Spectrum News 1, the Spectrum News app, your television home, Spectrum News 1 and the Spectrum News app for high school sports in the state of Ohio. Waterford and Fort Loramie, that's going to be a fun one to watch here at the UD Arena. Foul out near the midcourt stripe. Moody is bumped off balance. Jerry Close and that Waterford program have made so many trips to the state tournament. Carla Siegel, well, she's just been dominant at Fort Loramie. And those two programs, they met last year in the D4 title game. And just for the heck of it, they're going to meet this year in the D7 title game.
Why not?
Same time next year. That was the message at the end of the game last year.
They're going to make it a little bit of a habit, it sounds like.
2:25 to go. The lead at 17. The lead at 18. Lauren Moody knocks down the free throws. Gurman steps back. Too strong. And Moody the rebound in traffic. Rootstown trying to pick up all over the floor. Racing ahead is Paulty, who started out big in this game. And the turnover gives the basketball back to Rootstown. That was the 21st turnover for Columbus Grove. Each team has 21 turnovers.
I gotta just say too, this Ruth Myers on Columbus Grove, she has been an absolute menace with her on-ball pressure. I mean, she is right up in the grill of whoever she is guarding. I mean, she's done a great job of putting ball pressure on there and forcing those hard passes where someone else can either deflect it or pick it off.
Nice bounce pass by Lowe in the lane. She took that post pass, started to back her way down. Nesby closed her off, and she found Biddikofer slicing to the bucket for the score. 16-point lead with 95 seconds left in the first ever Division 6 state championship game. Columbus Grove with the ball in the lead. Moody comes out high to take the basketball, looking to close out her fabulous Columbus Grove career with a state championship. And a foul on the wing. And again, Rootstown over the 5-foul team limit. The emotion of fouling out of her final game as a senior has hit Addie Gurman. She played so hard today for her basketball team, knocked down 3 3-point shots. A single season record, 3-point shooting at Rootstown. Once hit 7 in a game. And getting a well-deserved round of applause from the Rootstown fans who have made their way down. And the big coach's hug from Joe Leonard.
This is always the tough part to watch. Last game as a high school player, I mean, that I still remember that, right? That was forever ago. So I mean, this is just, it's just a hard thing to watch.
At the line is Aubrey Schrader. First of 2 is on the way and good. Nadia Lowe checks out. Joe Leonard starting to empty his bench a little bit. Second free throw good by Aubrey Schrader. And the lead at 18 points. Columbus Grove heading towards the school's first state championship in girls basketball. And a timeout by Rootstown coach Joe Leonard, a full timeout, will stop the clock with 1:11 left in this game. There have been so many highlights in this one, but only one can be our play of the game. It's brought to you by Orthopedic One, ranked #1 in Ohio and #3 in the nation for orthopedics. Lauren Ochmoody finding her way to the basket. The floater early on kind of set the tone, that ability to break down the Rootstown defense, and that just started a cascade of plays like that throughout this game and is propelling Columbus Grove to the state championship.
She does a good job of kind of anticipating and connecting with the contact, so she's anticipating it because she's going to create it. So she created off that left shoulder and then went up and was able to hang in the air just long enough where she could kind of balance herself out and get a really good shot. Again, clearly one that she practices all the time.
Has to be an exciting moment for a number of those young ladies, peeling off the warm-up jerseys, getting ready to check in to a state championship game. Brian Schrader guiding his program to a state championship. His 230th career victory is 71 seconds away. And a lot of those courtesy of that young lady right there, Lauren Ochmoody. On her way to play collegiately at the University of Findlay. A lot of times when you see the numbers that she puts up, you think, well, this is basically a one-person team. That could not be any more far from the truth. They have 4 players in double figures today. Ochmoody, quiet for the most part, finishes with 15 points. She has the basketball now, but it was Nesby's double-double so huge in this game. The 14 from Palti really got them jump-started offensively early on. Schrader with 14 as well, too. 45 seconds left. And there's a foul that will allow Brian Schrader to make a hockey line change and put 5 new players into the game. And the Columbus Grove Bulldogs starters, save for Aubrey Schrader on the floor, will all leave as one here after the free throws by Ochmoody if she knocks them both down.
One thing I have to say about this game, too, as physical and as aggressive and tough as it's been, we've seen a lot of mutual respect from both sides of these players, from both teams, helping each other up, giving a high five, a pat on the back. And you also love to see that, right? Leave it on the floor. Great basketball all around, and that mutual respect of knowing you both deserve to be here.
Ochmoody makes his free throw. She'll check out. She does. She will. Her career will end with a state championship at Columbus Grove. Chance of MVP coming up from the Columbus Grove student section under the bucket. 42 seconds left. Both teams digging deep to the bench now. Bailey Kids into the game for Rootstown, also in. Mia Damacone, who's played early in this game. Olivia O'Neill also in for Rootstown with the basketball. Addison Pownell inside. 22 seconds left. For Columbus Grove, Maya Verhoff into the game, her first appearance. Also out high, Ella Schrader into the game. A held ball and a foul inside. Also checking in, Zoe Patchett, a 5'5" freshman. 2 more changes coming here momentarily for Brian Schrader. You can tell these young ladies obviously don't play that much. They didn't know where to sign in at. They had to quickly run. Well, they started at one end of the scorer's table. Oh, we got to go to the midcourt side. Got it.
What a great experience, too, to get into a state championship game. I mean, even if it is for 11.8 seconds, what a great experience. They'll never forget this. They'll remember this the rest of their life.
Daisy Thompson, a 5'2" freshman, checks in. 11 seconds left. A lane violation on Bailey Kidd. So with 11 seconds left, Columbus Grove will get the basketball, dribble out the final seconds, and the celebration begins in Putnam County. A state championship is once again headed to Northwest Ohio in girls high school basketball. This time, it's Columbus Grove, the first ever Division VI state champions in the state of Ohio. Wire to wire today go the Columbus Grove Bulldogs. They never trailed. They raced out to an 18-2 lead. Never let Rootstown find any type of flow offensively. Their pressure defense, a big reason why they are state champions for the first time in school history in the state of Ohio. Brian Schrader guiding his program to the championship. Greeting Joe Leonard. The two had a great conversation prior to the game. The handshake afterwards. And the presentation of medals and trophies coming up here at the University of Dayton Arena. Cameron, I don't think there's any other way to say it. Columbus Grove was impressive and dominant today.
Absolutely. I was just looking at their stats. You know, Moody ended with 17 points. You mentioned the huge double-double from Nicole Nesby. They had what, four girls who scored in double digits. I know you mentioned that a little bit earlier. That is just so hard to guard. How do you guard that? Who do you put your best defenders on, right? I mean, keeping people on their toes that way, but I really think that their aggressive defense led to that successful offense, and seeing all of those scores, all of those people get double digits in scoring plus.
Columbus Grove wins the state championship. The state title winning coach, Brian Schrader, is with Katie Pollock.
Thanks, Marty. Coach, first time ever in the state championship game for your team. First time ever state champions. How does that sound?
It sounds unbelievable right now. It's just surreal. I mean, tournament time, you're always thinking, you know, win this one, and then your eyes are on the next game, and already, you know, the wheels are turning in terms of scouting reports. Just to know this is the end, and we end up with a win to finish our season is unbelievable.
The past several seasons, you guys made it through the regional rounds. What helped you this year kind of push through to the states?
I think our experience coming back. Lauren's a four-year starter. Our juniors, a lot of them had experience or even started their freshman year. So I think just the experience that they've had and being in these big moments over the last few years served us really well.
So you have a young team with 6 freshmen on this varsity roster. So are we going to see you back here next year?
We'll do our best to. You know, we have one senior. That one senior is really, really good and really, really important and does a lot of really good things. So hopefully they draw from this experience, and our underclassmen are confident that it can be done. But, you know, Lauren's going to be really tough to replace.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. Congratulations. Guys, back to you.
All right, Katie, nothing putting a little pressure on Coach Schrader. Hey, we're going to see you back here next year. Certainly a great program at Columbus Grove as they win the state championship. The Rootstown Rovers getting their runners-up medals. They will get the runner-up trophy here momentarily in the Division VI championship game. A tremendous season at Rootstown. They won the Portage Trail Conference. First time ever in the state tournament. Their first time in the state championship game. Joe Leonard's program winning the semifinal over Fort Fry, 57-54. Navigated their way through the early part of the season playing without Nadia Lowe, who was recovering from that ACL injury. They went 8-0 without her, which really started to set the tone for what they were going to do this year. Once they got through that part of the season without her, they started to fire on all cylinders. But today, Columbus Grove was just too much for them early on. Their only loss of the season was a 3-point setback to Richfield Revere, 54-51. But other than that, you look at some of their scores this year, and it's no surprise that they got to this title game. They beat Hartville Lake Center Christian 60-3. They had other wins, 71-55, 60-8 in the state tournament. They were dominant almost from the start of the season. But again today, Columbus Grove just had too much on both ends of the floor for them in this Division VI state championship game. The runner-up medals being handed out again to Rootstown right now. And in a moment, we'll listen in to the awarding of the runner-up trophy. Joe Leonard making his way out now. I talked to Coach Leonard prior to the game. I go, I just want to make sure it's Rootstown, right? And he goes, yeah, but if you want to say Rootstown, go ahead. He goes, but then you're going to get some phone calls.
Yeah, that's when the emails and the phone calls start coming, right?
Right.
For sure. You know, another thing, they're losing 3 major seniors, right, which is always hard to rebuild, that kind of thing. But looking on this roster, they have a lot of young ones, too.
Bo Rugg will hand out the state runner-up trophy in Division 6.
This group had a special bond. Let's talk about what this senior class has done. 4 straight league championships. In team sports, the first team ever from Rootstown to make a championship game. The first girls basketball team ever from Portage County to make a championship game. "27 wins, most in school history. Randy TV Paul from our board of directors and I are so proud to present you with the runner-up trophy, Division 6. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Rootstown Rovers.
The Rovers of Rootstown, your Division 6 state runner-up in the state of Ohio in this first ever year of 7 divisions in Ohio. And they
Division 6 state champions in the Bulldogs.
come to Dayton and lose to Columbus Grove. The roar in the background. The state championship medals are going to be awarded, and then the championship trophy going to the Columbus Grove Bulldogs, Brian Schrader's team. Northwest Conference, Putnam County League champions. The school with 108 girls, their first time in the state tournament, their first time in the state title game. And I thought it was a great question that Katie Pollock asked Brian Schrader a moment ago, Camity, about finally getting over that hump of making it to 4 regionals and losing every time, and then getting here today and winning the state championship, getting to the state tournament. That experience that even though 1 senior but 4 juniors, they'd done it before. They knew what to expect when they got this far.
You said it. There's something to say about experience, and even if the experience is just being here and seeing the level and seeing the aggressiveness and being a part of it, but having the actual playing experience, it's got to help in so many different ways, and we saw it tonight.
And the way that they almost from the moment they got off the bus outside coming down the ramp here at UD Arena, they applied the pressure on Rootstown. Never let them get comfortable offensively. Made every pass an effort, it seemed like. And yes, they did turn the ball over 21 times. I'm sure if Brian Schrader will be preparing for another game, that would be a focus. But they did force 23 turnovers today and scored 25 points off of those turnovers.
You know, Katie also asked him, will we see you back here next year? And of course he wants to come back next year. But the big thing is he's got big shoes to fill, right, with Lauren Achmoody not being there anymore. So it really looks like we're going to have to see who steps up as far as point guard goes, especially when we talk about turnovers, have someone really controlling the ball, and we might see them right back here next year.
Aubrey Schrader could fill that role. She's a 5'10 freshman. She had a big game today. Schrader finished with 14 points for Columbus Grove. And again, they had 4 in double figures today. Very balanced offense. Schrader had 14 points, 8 rebounds. The big day, though, on the glass belonged to Nesby with 16 rebounds. And her 13 points. Achmoody, 17 points, a half dozen rebounds. Also had a game-high 6 assists in this one. Did Achmoody, again, backing up what Brian Schrader said earlier, a modern point guard. She scores and delivers.
And you can easily see that, again, with the multiple people scoring in double digits. If you're not relying on one person to score all the points, you're in a really good position.
And we are seconds away from the presentation of the Division 6 state championship. And doing the honors for the OHSAA, As the state championship trophy will be handed out is the Director of Communications, Tim Street.
What a school year for Columbus Grove. I look up into your student section. I see runners. I see some of you that ran in the cross-country state tournament. I see your soccer team that went to the Final Four. I see your football team that went to the Final Four. This winter, both of your basketball teams, conference champions. And I want to ask Putnam County, because everyone from Putnam County is here, what do you think of these Bulldogs? The OHSAA has had the privilege to give Columbus Grove state championship trophies in cross country, track and field, and football. Ladies, 5 straight district championships. You survived thrillers in the regional tournament and the state semifinals, and today you're taking home the first basketball state championship trophy in Columbus Grove history. This is Jay Selgo. He is with the Northwest District Athletic Board and president of the Board of Directors. It's a privilege on behalf of our member schools and staff to give Columbus Grove the Division VI State Championship Trophy. Congratulations.
The Columbus Grove Bulldogs.
The Columbus Grove Bulldogs, the state champions in Division VI basketball. Cammity, as we wrap it up, we referenced it a couple of times, but again, I don't think any better way to sum it up than just to say how impressive Columbus Grove was today.
Yeah, and I talked about their defense a lot today, but impressive on both sides of the court. They knew exactly how to get it done to take home the first ever state championship for their school.
And again, the final score in our Division VI state championship game, Columbus Grove 65 and Rootstown 46. We invite you to tune in later for the Division VII championship game. Highly anticipated Fort Loramie and Waterford. It tips off at 5:15. OHSA championship game day starts at 5 o'clock right here on Spectrum News app and on Spectrum News 1, your television home for high school sports. For Cammity Rudd, Katie Pollock, Gene Winters, and our entire group, I'm Marty Bannister saying congratulations to Columbus Grove, the first ever Division VI state champion in the state of Ohio. More basketball coming up from the UD Arena in Dayton.